tap.
Welcome back to MTGYou, the Magic the Gathering podcast for you. I'm James.
Back in the saddle again. I'm Blades.
Guess who just got back today? Them wild-eyed boys who had been away. I'm Peter.
It's Saturday, the 20th of June, 2015. We're coming to you from locations across the United States. Thanks for joining us. This is episode 63.
Upkeep.
All right, well, it's good to be back. It took a long hiatus there. As you may know, we came to a decision back in December that we were going to reevaluate, kind of find out where we are, and now it's June, and we're coming back. We have a few new ideas, kind of a new lease on life. And I think we're going to be back for a while now, honestly. I kind of have that gut feeling that we're going to reorganize ourselves in a way that will have a little bit of staying power. So, welcome back.
One can only hope, yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I always forget that I shouldn't make promises, but, you know. Anyway, we have Justin on the Mr. Blades on the line, and we have our own Peter.
Howdy, howdy.
And eventually, we may have both Rich and Damon back on at times. They have said that they've expressed an interest in wanting to be on occasionally. So we're just going to see how this how this works out. And the other things that are going to happen, we've kind of, like I said, looked at perhaps ways of making this more consistent. So here's a few things we're doing differently. One, we're going to a bi-weekly schedule. So we will just be coming every other week to your earbuds. The other thing is we're not doing a video podcast anymore. That was just
lot of work.
Too much work.
Yeah.
And that way I can sit here without any clothes on and...
Oh, my lord. Ah.
We thank you, but your chair does not.
Yeah, thank you. What other things have we decided, just in ways of introduction to our welcome back?
Something else we're going to try to do is try to keep the episodes to a little bit more of a manageable length, because they had kind of gone out for a kind of run long for a little while, and that was I know difficult number one on the recording end, and on the editing end, and number two is something's difficult to, especially for some folks, just to listen to one episode in a manageable time. So we're trying to keep it, keep things a little bit shorter.
Yeah, roughly an hour, I think, is what we're kind of shooting for.
Yeah.
Could be shorter than that. Probably not much longer than that, hopefully.
Yeah.
No.
And anything else that you can think of that we're doing? Obviously, we're going to try... Another thing is we're going to just try to add more content to the website. Right. As well, try to keep up on that a little bit better. And I think as we aren't focusing so much on our video and other things like that, that we may actually have more time to focus on the website. So that might be good.
Also, probably the least one that is going to affect you guys. We used to get together and record out of James's garage.
That's true. That was
no
studio. Garage.
Yeah. Oh, studio. Studio. Edit that out. StudioYou.
StudioYou. Yeah.
So quality may suffer a little bit. Hopefully not, though.
And I'm still in StudioYou, but we have Rich and Blades coming to us via Skype, and that I think this will help us to get things out on a timely basis too. So not as big of a time commitment from families.
Right.
All right, so in the news, that was part of the news. The next thing is, the next big set that's coming out is Origins, right? This is taking the place. Yes. This is taking the place of
2016 Magic 2016, the core set.
Now, I have a question. Does that mean that core sets are basically out?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it does mean. Core sets are no longer to be made anymore. This is going to be the last one, or it was going to be the last one until they renamed it Origins.
Oh, is that right? And so there's not going to be, like, next year, there's not going to be another Origins?
Right. This is it.
And then we're doing like a 2-block thing or something like that twice a year?
Then we are moving to the 2-block thing twice a year. So we're going to have a 2 sets per block, twice a year.
Okay.
So still same amount of product being released, but it's just going to be, we're going to be planeswalking a whole lot faster.
So that's kind of cool that they're doing it Origins rather than 2016, because it's kind of, it helps transition the whole thing, and it kind of gives, I don't know, it's like a really nice jumping off spot, don't you think? And
it is. It's sort of like, hey, before we go, let's visit the background of all these planeswalkers that you've grown to know over the past 10 years or so.
Yeah. I mean, I was skeptical about this before it came out. I always for a time I thought that, just looking at the origins of the Planeswalkers was kind of like doing a prequel, and whenever you do a prequel, it means you've kind of lost some creativity. But I think this is going to be interesting. Having seen these cards, I have sort of renewed faith in this set, so I think it's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm. I love seeing origin stories too. That's something that's really interesting to me.
Sure.
Well, more than just that, in most other previous origin stories, we get a world that we know the future of, but we don't know the past of. Mm-hmm. In these ones, we're getting all these different planes that we've never seen before, like Jace coming from Burnt. That is something we have never even heard about, and it's a plane that is totally unfocused on and uncharted as of this point.
Sure.
And we're going to be getting some backstory here pretty soon. We've already seen Chandra. Have you read that one? I've read that one. I actually really enjoyed her story about how she got her start. Of course, Chandra, I like Chandra. And I haven't read the Liliana yet, but it's on my to-do list.
Yeah, I'm definitely want to check both those out. I have not had a chance to read them.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a novella, because it's about an hour read for the Chandra one, and you think about, that's a good amount of information there. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. And then each week they're coming out with another one, so who knows what next week they're going to be coming out with? But it's all fun.
Right.
And because of these origin stories, we also have new cards that are coming out. One of them was spoiled a while ago. The Liliana was spoiled back in March, I believe. And they're flip cards.
Yeah, that I think is the biggest thing. I and probably a lot of other people thought that we saw the end of flip cards with the end of the Innistrad block. But I think it's cool that they've brought them back. I know they were a little controversial. Some people loved them, some people didn't.
Yep.
But I think it's cool to see them back and used with Planeswalkers in this sort of a way. I think it's really awesome.
Yeah, so they're not only flip cards, but they're now something new. It's a Planeswalker flip card. So transformed, representing the origin, a transform into a Planeswalker. What could be more cool?
Yeah. What I like about them, just looking over them, so far we've seen like straight up spoiled. We've seen Kytheon, Hero of Akros, who becomes Gideon, Battleforged, and Liliana, Heretical Healer, who becomes Liliana, Defiant Necromancer, and then we've also seen Chandra, Fire of Kaladesh, who becomes Chandra, Roaring Flame. But the thing that I like about them is the mana costs we're seeing. And there are some other ones, the Jace has been spoiled, kind of, the Nissa has been spoiled, but not necessarily the full-on one that's going to be in packs.
Right.
But what's really attracted me to them is their cost. So far, what we're seeing mana cost-wise, like the Gideon is 1 white, the Liliana is 1 and 2 black, the Chandra is 1 and 2 red, and I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, for me, it was always difficult when I was playing, for instance, like my modern 8-rack, to get a Liliana out on the board because it was 4 mana, and I like the fact that this is a 3 mana card, and you could, hopefully be able to get that out. And these should more than likely be fairly modern playable, I think, and so I'm excited to see these come out and see what happens to the format because of them.
Their abilities are pretty interesting too. I mean, I think they're very well designed, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah.
Did we want to actually talk about them, or just put them in the show notes and let people read them? Because, like I say, I think there's quite a bit here, and I think people could go look at them themselves. All of them have been spoiled, at least text-wise. As you said, Jace and Nissa are both. We have yet to see their actual art. I imagine in the next week or something we might be seeing that.
Right. Yeah, they've only been spoiled, spoiled, I guess. Not officially spoiled, but spoiled as the black border.
The give or the cards that are going to be available.
Comic-Con version.
They're awesome looking. Oh, yep. So I think that's probably enough said about that. Like I say, just check them out if you're interested, and we'll move along. So let's talk about something. Let's say Blades. There was a fiasco in GP Charlotte.
There was a little bit of a kerfluffle that online sort of got up in arms about how one of the players who made it to the finals, in the semifinals, it was discovered that he was playing a card that was not in his registered deck list. I believe it was a Cavern of Souls being switched out for a Tectonic Edge. And it was just a little bit weird about how people would expect all of the top 8 to be deck checked when that is not actual judge. It's nowhere in the judging platform to check before. It's more like a unspoken thing that they sometimes do.
Yeah, it's just surprising that something like that would slip through the cracks, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening to him?
The player who was playing the illegal deck or the deck miscalculation, policy for that is that he receives a loss in his next round. Where his next round was in the finals, he then pretty much just started out the finals with a loss. So he automatically just sort of like lost it there.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So
now, are they considering this to be like a cheating offense, or was it just like, oops, I screwed up, or what? How's
it is not looked at a cheating offense. There is no evidence to suggest that there was malicious intent. But so we're just moving along like it was just a normal deck registration error.
Well, you got to wonder how somebody overlooks something like that. Oh, I forgot. I substituted this card and didn't update my deck list. Okay, whatever. I don't know. Maybe it's easier to do than.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
If you write down your deck list days in advance for some people, and then you forget about it right before the event.
Okay.
So it's actually a quite common offense.
Oh, okay.
But just not in the finals of a G.
That's where it really sticks out.
I bet he's kicking himself too. It's like, oh my gosh, lose it over such a little thing. And the last piece of news we wanted to talk about was something that just happened. I think yesterday, right, Peter?
Yeah, absolutely. This is news pretty much hot off the presses. A little while ago on the Star City Games website, Megan Wolf wrote what was a very well-received article about entitled "Women in Magic: The Gathering," just kind of laying out some of the issues that women face in the Magic community. And so yesterday, SCG then printed, I should say published because they don't actually print anything, but they posted an article by Jim Davis, who is I don't know if he's a pro player, but he's a player of note. That was I guess at once a response to Megan Wolf, and was also supposed, I guess, in his mind, probably trying to play off of and maybe expand on some of the points that she made. And basically, I don't want to get into the arguments and stuff here because there's a lot to unpack in that article, but it basically exploded on the SGC site. It exploded on social media, on Reddit, Twitter, Tumblr, and basically the same day then, Cedric Phillips, who is kind of the head content producer for Star City Games, had the article pulled and printed up a fairly lengthy apology that itself has gotten a lot of attention. Some people say the article shouldn't have been pulled, some say it should have, but it's really just kind of gone in this viral thing as much as something can go viral in the Magic community right now. And this just happened yesterday, which would have been Friday, and it's still going. It hit the blogosphere, and there have been at least 2 major blog posts about it so far, and I'm expecting quite a few more. So it's really going.
I've read the article, and since it's there are links out there. By the way, there's ways of finding out what it said, even though it's no longer there. I won't put a link in the show notes to the actual article itself, since Star City Games wanted it pulled, so I'll honor that. However, if you want to find it, I'm sure you might be able to. I will post a link to the apology. What did you say?
It's not hard to find it. It's really not. Yeah. So you can find it out there, folks, if you want to read it.
But I'll post a link to the retraction and apology. Very interesting. I'm sure we could editorialize for a while, but that's something that we kind of want to stay away from, actually.
Sure.
Anything else you want to say about that?
I don't think so.
Okay. Let's move into the
draw step.
In the draw step, we have first up, Peter, you are up first, and your card is Tombstalker. Costs 6 mana. This is in the old style, so I'm not used to reading these.
Right.
Is it 6 black?
Yeah, 6 black, so it's CMC of 8.
Yeah. It's a rare 5/5 creature demon with flying and delve. What is it about this that you're just enamored with?
I like this card a lot. It is one of the stars of my modern 8-rack deck. Most of the time, the 8-rack deck is usually it's a mono black deck. It's based on hand disruption. So, like the core of the deck are Thoughtseize, Inquisition of Kozilek, Raven's Crime, Wrench Mind, Duress, Distress, Despise, things like that are meant to basically just rip cards out of your opponent's hand. The thing is, and then because they have so few cards in your hand, then you use things like Shrieking Affliction and Rack that then deal them damage based on how few cards they have, and that's supposed to be like your primary win condition. The issue is you really do need a secondary win condition in that deck, because if you don't pull some of those cards, you're going to be just flat out of luck. So a buddy of mine helped me design the deck with some creatures that would work out really nicely. I run some Phyrexian Obliterators in there. I run some Phyrexian Crusaders just as blockers. But then he suggested Tombstalker, and I was like, okay, I'm going to check this card out. And the thing is, you're going to think to yourself, what is an 8-mana card doing in a modern deck? The thing is, it's the delve.
It is.
Yeah, that's what makes it so awesome. Because, especially in some of the later turns of the game, your graveyard's gonna be full of stuff because you've been playing your Thoughtseizes, your Inquisitions, all these other things, and I don't think I've ever had to hard cast this guy for 8. It's usually I've just been paying the 2 black and getting him out there because I can just abuse my graveyard, and pretty much when he gets on the board, it's the end. What I like to do is if I have it, I like to play one of my Phyrexian Obliterators first, because usually that's going to be removal bait. And people are like, "Oh, I don't want this," and so they get rid of it, and they'll do whatever they can to exile it or etc. But then the next turn, or sometimes even that same turn, the Tombstalker comes out, and then you can just see the look on their face, like, "Oh, I should have waited."
Yeah, you have 2 black up, and they don't think, "Oh, he can't really do much now."
Right.
At least not a threat.
Yeah. And it turns out to be this great win. So I run 2 of those in my deck, and it's basically any time it's counted, they've come up and it's helped.
Nice.
So I love that card. It's definitely worth checking out.
Very good. Okay, and Blades, you're up with Disrupting Shoal. It's X blue for a rare instant arcane. You may remove a blue card with converted mana cost X in your hand from the game, rather than paying Disrupting Shoal mana cost. Counter target spell if its converted mana cost is X.
Right. So this is starting to see a little bit of play in Modern. And people who have been playing have been starting to say that it's a little bit like the Force of Will for Modern. It definitely seems a little bit more constrained to be considered the Force of Will. But it still seems pretty good to counter something for free, pretty much. At least most of the decks that have been playing it only have things to counter at 1 and 2 mana cost, and they're more of the Delver style decks. But it just seems like it's a pretty good buy right now. It started out a couple weeks ago at $5, and it's already up to 10 right now. So if it does explode or whatever, I think that it's probably going to be a good investment sometime soon. I personally think that it is going to see a bit more play. I think that it just hasn't gotten found the right love that it needs just yet. It hasn't found the respect. It's still the Rodney Dangerfield of cards right now.
Very good. Okay. And my card is Chandra, Fire of Kaladesh, and Chandra, Roaring Flame, which is the flip card. Obviously, would you expect anything different from me than a red card? Absolutely. I definitely want this card. The first side, Chandra, is 1 red for a mythic rare 2/2 legendary creature, human shaman. Whenever you cast a red spell, untap Chandra, Fire of Kaladesh. Tap Chandra, Fire of Kaladesh deals 1 damage to target player. If Chandra has dealt 3 or more damage this turn, exile her, then return her to the battlefield transformed under her owner's control. So you really only need to tap her once. If you can get through with her 2 power and deal that damage, and it doesn't say deal damage to, it says does deal damage to the player. So if you can get through with that, you can either untap her 3 times with some simple spells. You notice it says there red spells. It doesn't say instant, sorcery, anything else. It could be anything.
Right.
So that's pretty cool. And then flip her, and she has some pretty cool abilities. +1 Chandra, Roaring Flame deals 2 damage to target player. Love it. A +1 like that. Awesome. -2 Chandra, Roaring Flame deals 2 damage to target creature. Her loyalty is 4, so you already have something. You start off with 4 plus. You do her +1, you're already up to 5, or you can use a -2 right off the bat if you wanted to. -7 Chandra, Roaring Flame deals 6 damage to each opponent. Each player dealt damage this way gets an emblem with, at the beginning of your upkeep, this emblem deals 3 damage to you. Nice.
That's going to be something in EDH. That's pretty sweet.
Is there any way to get rid of emblems?
Negative.
Not yet. I'm sure there will be, but nothing yet.
That's interesting.
I think that's sort of the point of the emblem is that once it's there, and there's nothing really much that you can do about it. I think that's something that Wizards have went into in the past, and I doubt that it's going to be something that they tried to affect further on. However, they have sort of said the same thing about Planeswalkers, and recently they have been printing a whole lot more Destroy Target Planeswalker things.
Yeah, right. So it could change.
Yes.
Interesting.
And there are more ways to get cards out of exile, too, because exile used to be just kind of like a state of, that's it, you're gone.
So do you think this... go ahead.
It's still, exile is still in exile. There's still, just like any other Magic card, there are things that contradict that. But I still get the feeling that they're trying to keep exile exiled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Do you see this only as an EDH card, or do you think it's going to see standard or modern play anywhere?
That all depends on the metagame. That depends if we continue to get cheap red spells to trigger her off. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of the time it's like a 2 damage unblockable anyway for 3 mana. That seems pretty meh. Mm-hmm. Like nothing spectacular, but it's not like terrible by any means.
Right.
But even if you keep it around that, I think that it's at least going to be maybe playable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the big question is, if Origins is going to be close to like an M16 type of deal, not like the rifle, but the set. I would be interested in, because for years they used to print. They were printing Fireball as a standard card in M16 in the
block
core set,
core set.
Thank you. Wow, in the core sets. And so if they did something like that, that would definitely make her a force.
Yeah, this will be pretty cool. Anyway, we'll see what happens with her. I'll definitely be trying to build a deck around her.
Right on.
Okay, I think we can move along.
Main phase.
All right, in our main phase, we want to deal with a couple of things. First of all, since it's a welcome back episode, we want to just briefly tell you what we've been up to. And then we're going to get into talking briefly about Magic subscription boxes, since our own Peter has quite a bit of experience with this now. Over the past year, he's been playing with them. Okay, so who wants to go first? I think I will. All right, thank you. Thank you very much. So, as you know, we took a little time off. We mentioned that at the first of the show. And if you're just picking us up for the first time, welcome. If you're back from listening to us in the past, welcome back. I've been taking a little break from Magic, and I just over the past month and a half, I've been feeling the urge to get back into it, and I'm surprised how much is still the same and how much has changed. So it's always this weird feeling whenever you leave Magic and come back. At first it's a little disorienting. I don't know if you've experienced that, to try to catch up on the community and see what water has passed under the bridge. For me, I've been I don't know. My kids are hitting teenage years, and so a lot of my time is actually taken up with them. I think you both, with younger kids, probably feel a little bit the same way, but I'll tell you, I feel like the chauffeur right now, because it feels like I'm always taking them places, and of course my wife can say the same thing. But even my son said the other day, "Hey, Dad, I really want to go to Friday Night Magic again." So we're like, "Okay, well, let's do this thing." So it's good to be back, and yeah.
Cool.
How about you, Peter? What you been up to?
Magic-wise, I've been playing a lot of Modern, which is a format that I had initially swore I would never play, because I didn't want to buy shocks and I didn't want to buy fetches. Well, guess what? Now I'm shock and fetch mad, and I'm playing Modern.
Welcome to the dark side.
And it's good to be here. You have cookies. No, I've been playing a lot of Modern. I built a zoo. I don't have goyfs, so it's kind of a zoo that works around that. I've been working on collecting Modern staples at this point, so I can have good stuff in my sideboards and things. Like I said, I built the 8 rack that was my go-to deck for a while. I've since dismantled that because I'm prepping to build Modern black-white tokens, which I have all the pieces for.
I do want to mention that you have an article that's going to be coming out on the MTGYou website next week about the 8 rack. So
correct.
He's mentioned it a couple times on our show, and I just wanted to make sure, if you're not familiar with what 8 rack is, there will be a forthcoming article that will talk a little bit more about that.
Right, it's got the deck list and some of the strategy and stuff I use in there. Because it's not a traditional 8 rack, because it also splashes green for abrupt decay. I've also have built a Tron that's it's not a competitive deck by any means, but just kind of fun to play. So that's really what Magic I've been focusing on. I've been playing a lot of EDH. I pretty much have a standing weekly game with a buddy of mine at a local coffee shop, and that's how I get out most of my Magic jollies. So, but yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Do you play mostly EDH with your buddy there, or do you play both Modern and EDH?
Both Modern and EDH. He's the guy that really got me into Modern.
Oh.
And he's a really good player. He goes plays a lot of GPs, and always comes within a hair's breadth of day twoing. He generally, when it's Modern stuff, he generally plays Burn. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, his Burn deck it's tough. So,
do you have anyone else you ever play with?
Every once in a while, I get up to the game store. The thing is, he makes different decks, so I have different stuff to try out, and so we keep things pretty different as much as we can. Sometimes I can make it up to the local gaming shop. I'm planning to play in the Origins game day, so I can try out a standard deck I've built. But yeah,
I'm gonna have to see if maybe there's a way that you and I could connect, either with Moto or something like that. Maybe you and I could play a game or two once in a while, just to give you a little diversity.
That would be awesome. I would love that. There's got to be a way we can do it over Skype or something.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think we'll maybe noodle that a little bit.
Yeah, right on. I'd love that.
Okay.
You got to give him a little bit more of a challenge.
My buddy stomps me on a weekly basis. I could use a few easy wins. Sorry.
Oh.
Calling you out.
Well, we know that you'd win, but that's okay. That's okay. Hey, I'm up and coming here. I'm the underdog. I've actually been playing quite a bit. This goes into our combat phase, so I'll just leave it. I'm just going to say something then. So anyway, Blades, what have you been up to?
Mostly nothing.
Child rearing?
Yes. So I've been playing effectively a bit less Magic. Normally, I try to shift between a few different decks in the standard metagame. Right now, I'm pretty much just there for a little bit. I was on a blue-white heroic. That worked okay for me, but ever since Dragons came out, I've been on to the green-red Atarka, and I've just not been touching the deck list. I've just been playing that to great success, like every other Friday or something like that. Since I now got the whole family thing going for me, and I'm loving that so very much, giving up a little bit of Magic so that I can get that going, and it's totally worth it.
I agree. It is worth it. I figure I only have a couple of years with my son still left at home here, so I'm not trying to, Magic's going to be there for a while. I don't have to worry about that. You don't always have the family around, so that's good. Both of you have young kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
My son's going to be 1 next month.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And Blades, how old is it? Remind me your son's name.
Rowan. He will be 6 months next week.
Wow, congrats.
That's amazing. My wife mentioned she ran into you at the mall the other day.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. So let's move into the next topic, Magic subscription boxes. Peter, lead the way here. All
right, right on. So I think the first question that we need to ask is, what is a subscription box? So when you talk about Magic subscription boxes, what are these things? Basically, just like you can get a subscription to a magazine, you can get a subscription to some of these boxes. And basically, they're all different kinds. I mean, there's everything from, for instance, the Dollar Shave Club, where they deliver razors and razor blades, to your door for shaving, to Ipsy and Birchbox, which are largely aimed at ladies, which are kind of like makeup and other kinds of supplies like that. There are subscription boxes for
pajamas,
socks, pajamas. I mean, all different kinds of stuff. There's Nature Box. They provide snacks. So basically, you pay a monthly fee and they send you these boxes. A lot of them take credit cards or PayPal or things like that. But the Magic boxes emerge from kind of this popular tradition that's been going the last few years of geek subscription boxes, Loot Crate, Nerd Block, things like that, where they're focused on forgive it, but nerds or geeks, quote unquote, and stuff that are related to sci-fi, fantasy, horror. Boxes like that, Funko Pop figures and things that go in them, stuff related to different movie franchises and things like that. And so there have been quite a few Magic subscription boxes. In other words, that they send right to your door, Magic supplies, everything from packs to sleeves to deck boxes to kind of like Magic lifestyle items. You might call it like Funko Pops of Magic characters, little Magic action figures, play mats. I mean, all different kinds of stuff. And by and large, I've tried most of the ones out there. There are a few I haven't actually given a shot to yet. But I just wanted to share some perspectives because I know when I talk to people about them, sometimes they're like, "Wait a minute, these things exist," and they need to want to check them out right now. I mentioned one to one of my followers on Instagram, and they immediately checked it out and like, "You've totally saved me." I didn't know what I was going to get my husband for his birthday, and now I know. I'll get into some of the benefits and drawbacks of them a little bit later, but I want to get into some of the more prominent boxes so that people can kind of know what to expect. There was one I tried, the very first one I tried, called MTG Brew Box, which actually got canceled as of November 2014. Basically, it was a great box. They provided some really good material. You got for about $20, you got 3 packs and another couple of items. But the issue for them was they had the people that did it owned a gaming store. They had some health issues and some financial issues, and they had to cancel both the service and their store. But they were upfront about that, and and just let people know that it wasn't going to be continuing. If you Google like Magic subscription box, Magic box, that kind of a thing, you're going to more than likely end up with monthly Magic box as your first couple of results. And the interesting thing about that service is you'll also probably write down there, then also end up with some fairly critical posts about them too. Monthly Magic Box is basically the great granddaddy of all Magic Boxes. They've been going for a few years, and while I don't want to get into what other people have said about them, I want to kind of provide some of my experience. From what I've gotten from them, they have provided very good quality products. Generally, about 3 packs in standard you get from them for about $19.99 a month, plus about $5 shipping and handling, and you can get it on 1, 3, or 6 month plans. So you're basically paying about $25 a month. So you get they promise 6 to 10 items related to Magic each month, including packs, playmats, dice, shirts, sleeves, deck boxes, portfolios, things like that.
Shirts, sleeves, shirt sleeves.
Shirt sleeves, shirt.
So wait a second. Are the 6 month plans, like if you go for a 6 month plan, is it a little cheaper than the 1 month plan? Is that the way it works?
Exactly.
I see.
Generally, with a lot of these services, 1 month is cheaper. 3 months is cheaper than 1 month, and then 6 months is cheaper than 3 months, et cetera, et cetera. The first box, and actually, unfortunately, the only box I got from them, had great products in it. I got 3 packs of, I think at the time, Khans of Tarkir had just come out. I got a nifty set of dice, a really great deck box that I love, a tin deck box that's really cool. Some great sleeves that had the Karaz the Guildmage on them from Ravnica. Or Return to Ravnica. So I was happy with the stuff I got. The issue with them is they are unfortunately notorious for having poor communication. I have had contacted them because I just wanted to cancel the subscription and had not been able to get them on Facebook, Twitter, or on their email, which was a problem. And it's a common issue that other people have apparently had. And so basically, I just had to kind of go into my own PayPal account and cancel the thing on my own.
Which is do they offer other services other than PayPal?
Most of them, I can't remember if they take a credit card also, but most of these places will take both credit card or PayPal.
Because that's why I like PayPal, and I would recommend people, if they do these things and they have the option of going PayPal, is because then you have more of, if you give them a credit card, it's harder to cancel those things, I believe. Right. Then you just go into PayPal and say, sorry, don't continue that subscription.
No, I wholeheartedly agree with that. So monthly Magic Box is one option, but definitely, I advise you with any of these services, read up on them, do your research before you go for them, and just see what other people have said about in their reviews, because they are out there. There are a lot of reviews out there on YouTube and other places, so definitely check those out. Don't just take my word for it. Although I have tried these things out.
So did you cancel this one then?
I did cancel it. Yes.
And why is that? Just because of the poor communication?
Basically, yes. And just the fact that I felt like if they weren't gonna communicate with me, then I may as well. I mean, because that's just kind of a deal breaker, especially for when so many of these other services do such a good job with communication. It just felt not great.
Right. Okay.
For another service, there is Fantasy Crate, and they the name kind of takes off of Loot Crate and other similar services. They offer 2 options that you could subscribe to. One is what they call their monthly Magic Crate for $30.95. That has 3 standard packs. They make their own tokens. A life pad or a token pad. If you guys don't know what a token pad is, it's pretty cool. It's a little pad of paper that if you don't have if a card that you have generates a particular token and you don't have the token, it's basically a card that has a space for a name and stuff at the top, and then a line with a slash, so you can put if it's a 1/1 creature, you can put that out there, and it helps you kind of just make a token really fast.
Interesting. I might have to make some of those.
They're pretty sweet. I like them.
And a little place where you could draw a picture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then they also offer, it comes with 3 to 7 other items. And it's a really nice service. I've seen them, some of the items they've had include Magic action figures and stuff like that. They have a really good social media presence on Twitter, I believe also on Facebook. They have another option that you can go for, what they call the monthly draft crate, which is a little bit cheaper at $29.95. You get 6 packs, a life pad, a token pad, and then sleeves, a deck box, or dice. I believe I went with Fantasy Crate for either 1 month or 2 months just to give them a shot and see what I thought. I was very happy with them, not only with the promptness of their service, but also with the items they provided. I think I myself went with the monthly draft crate, which was really, really good because you got more packs that way, and that's really what I was looking for. Because, and I think I'll get into this in just a little bit, is once you get a lot of these boxes, there are only so many deck boxes you really need and so many sleeves and stuff like that. So I tend to like the services that provide a little bit more cards, and that brings us to CCG Crate. CCG Crate is actually it's run by a business called Darium CCG in the Cleveland, Ohio area. So they're local to me. And if you you can check them out at ccgcrate.com. They offer 2 different kinds of Magic boxes. One is what they call the MTG Booster Crate. For $29.99, you get 9 packs in standard, custom tokens, a life pad, some dice, and an MTG sticker, like a custom sticker that they make, which is pretty neat. That is what first attracted me to the service, because 9 packs at $29.99 is actually a steal. That's a really good deal. Because if a pack is MSRPing at $4, it would be over $30 to get those packs. Since then, I have tried out their Players Crate, which is another option for $20 more, so for just shy of $40. They say that they send you a minimum retail value of about $55. This can include booster packs, sleeves, deck boxes, play mats, binders, dice sets, and also specialized sealed product, by which they mean clash packs, pre-release packs, dual decks, etc. I've gotten a couple of these and really have enjoyed them. Most recently, I got 2 Journey into Nyx pre-release packs and pulled some neat stuff out of that. As well as some nice sleeves and stuff like that. I have no complaints about this service. They have a very active Facebook presence and they'll post when things ship. Most of these places, when your box ships, they let you know, and have like a tracking method and stuff like that. CCG Crate goes a little bit beyond that on their Facebook page in terms of they have videos that will tell you, what's going to be in your box. They also have had in the past kind of what they call their sort of like a due diligence, where they say, this is how much you're paying, and this is how much it costs to us, how much profit we've gotten, which is really interesting that they kind of reveal their finances a little bit about that. So overall, I mean, there are other services out there. There are some services that I really can't get to because they're out in the United Kingdom and stuff like that. But there are for our listeners out there who may be in countries other than the United States, there are Magic boxes out there that you can subscribe to. And there's at least one other one in the U.S. that I haven't had a chance to try. Currently, I am subscribing, full disclosure, to the ccgcrate.com Players Crate, and I'm very happy with that. Now, just to sum up a little bit, some of the benefits of these boxes. First of all, you generally get very good value. For what you pay, by and large, you're getting more in MSRP retail value than what you're paying for. It really depends, what box is right for you really depends on what you want. Do you want more packs? Do you want, to actually get more actual cards, or do you want more stuff? Do you want more dice? Do you want more playmats and things like that? The other great thing is, it's delivered to your door. So for those folks like me who live 40 minutes from a game shop and can't get up to a game shop very often, this is kind of like Magic Christmas for me every month that comes in. And so I get nifty items, and it comes by mail, and it's kind of a neat surprise. So I really like that. The other thing that that might be a little bit of an issue for some people is, like I said, they can kind of get repetitive every once in a while, just because how many deck boxes, how many sleeves and stuff do you really need? For people who can get to a game store, it's less maybe useful, unless you really are interested in kind of like a surprise sent to you. The other thing is, while they are a good value, they're not cheap. I mean, like I said, the cheapest one of these is about $25 a month, and for some people that may be doable. For some people it may be not. So those are just things to keep in mind when you are dealing with these boxes.
So you said earlier that you had gotten some Journey into Next packs. I was just wondering how current are they keeping up with their current sets that they're releasing. I see that it's mostly standard, but for me, I mostly just want the newest set or the newest 2 sets.
Right. Generally, with the companies I've seen, it's hit or miss in terms of if they're going to send you the newest set, if they're going to send you, they might send you a pack or 2 of the newest set, and then have other packs of more recent sets that aren't the exact newest. It does depend on the service, but by and large, it also depends on the month, I should say. For instance, with the CCG crate, their players crate, they'll tell you this is what we're going to be sending you, and you'll kind of know. For instance, this month I'm expecting a bunch of Khans of Tarkir block packs, but when they say they're going to send you packs in standard, they are packs in standard, but they may not be the newest ones, and you're not always going to know. For folks who want only the newest, freshest sets, you're more than likely not going to be able to know if you're going to get those or not.
Okay,
makes sense. Yeah.
So they're not always just sending you whatever they have excess supply of, and whatever is going to be most cost effective for them.
It probably is that. Yeah.
I think in without knowing that for sure, I'm betting that is largely what's coming your way.
So, and I think that's part of what makes this probably what spawned this in the first place is, hey, we have too many booster boxes of this one that we're not moving, or we have these extra the pre-release packs, and so whatever it is they have excess of, they're still valuable for what they are, but they may not be, but you're actually getting maybe a little bit of a discount on them because you're basically taking what you get. So yeah,
but unfortunately, you're just getting all the stuff that nobody wants.
In a way,
that's what I'm getting.
Sometimes you may be getting that. I don't think it's always the case, but it's kind of a give and take.
Right. I mean, and there are some months, where you're getting some of the freshest stuff that there is out there, but it really just depends on the month and what they can offer and what comes your way. Because obviously it is a business for them, and so they're trying to create quality for their subscribers with whatever is going to be most cost effective for them. And that's one of the things too with when you subscribe to other subscription boxes like Loot Crate and others. You get neat items, but then you also get these items that are sort of not awesome, that are just kind of like filler. And that happens with every subscription box I've seen.
And I imagine it's going to be sort of that you need to, if you're expecting that and you just enjoy whatever you get, if you're kind of I'm just glad to get some cards that are basically at a discount that I can play with, then yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing. And it's kind of, since you don't know what's in there, it's the thrill of opening it up, and you may be slightly disappointed, or you might be excited. Oh wow,
Right, and that is part of it too. The fact that it's coming at your house, I should say coming to your house, and it's kind of a thrill. For folks who really like to get mail and get packages in the mail. And everybody does. It's a cool thing. It's wow, I get this neat box every month.
Yep. I just order pencils from Amazon all the time just because I like to open things up. I have a stack of pencils over there.
The secret life of James.
Anyway. All right. Well, anything else in closing on this topic?
I don't think so.
It's something I'm interested in. I may want to look at one of these days just to try out for a few months and see how I like it.
So. Yeah. Right. So overall, it's worth it in your opinion?
I would say yes. Overall, it's worth it, especially. Let's face it, if you're a hardcore player who needs particular cards, you're going to go to Star City Games or other places to buy those particular cards. But if you're maybe a little bit more of a casual player, or just somebody who wants to build up their stack of cards, or just who likes Magic and wants to build up their collection, I think it's very well worth it.
Okay.
Sweet.
All right, very good. Let's move along.
Combat phase.
Combat. So, let's see. Blades, have you been combating?
I've been combating a little bit. I've been trying to play a little bit more Modern. I've been trying to put together a few extra decks just so that I can try and kickstart my community here, my local community for Modern. I'm hoping to do more Modern than Standard because Standard is like, it's and it's fairly repetitive where I'm at. People don't switch up their decks a whole lot. So the metagame is quite predictable for one, but when you just keep facing the same thing over and over again, you want to do something different. So Modern is definitely that for me. Is
that because of the time of year, or is that the general state of it?
It's a little bit of both. Time of year, you get people fluctuating in and out. Where it's summer right now, a lot of people are out doing things with their families. A lot of people are out just on vacation or whatever. Mm-hmm. During winter, people have a tendency to pull into the game store a little bit more and out of the cold, and that helps a little bit more. But also in summer, it's highly speculated to be Modern season for all the pre-TQs and everything going on. So right now, actually, all the Modern staples are at a higher price than what they normally would be by like $10 or so. So like Snapcaster Mage, for instance, a month ago he's at $50. Right now he's at $80.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of a price influx, and maybe 3 months down the road, I think we're probably going to see a price closer down to that 50 scale mark.
I see.
So,
okay, what's the deck you've been most interested in lately?
Just blue, white, red variants. I'm still on the blue, white, red. I'm not sure if they are the best thing to be playing right now. I think that Geist is a super powerful card, but it's still seeing a lot of terrible matchups against a lot of the creatures that do not pair well against Bolt, like where we've got Tarmogoyf and the other Delve Guide Tassiger. And the whole Delve mechanic as a whole, the big toughness on that is 4 and 5, and that's really hard to get by on a Bolt. So Bolt is not for so much creature removal right now, as well as we're starting to see a little bit less of the creature variant decks outside of Elves. Elves has actually won the most recent Grand Prix, Grand Prix Charlotte.
Sure did.
But beyond that, Infect is starting to fall off the wayside. Affinity is starting to fall off the wayside a little bit. The Court of Calling decks, they're starting to look like they're jumping up a little bit, but I don't think that has made its big presence as of yet. But right now, it's looking like bigger creature removal is going to be better rather than the Bolt.
Okay.
A month or so in the future, it's due to change. So right now I'm leaning more towards the Dismember variant, to where as well as Path to Exile, because they're both one cast mana cost removal effectively that you can Snapcaster back efficiently, and where if we're not looking at a more aggressive format, you don't mind as much taking the 4 life off the Dismember. And the fact that it's a -5 is quite huge and relevant right now, rather than 3 or 4.
I see. All right. Good. Peter.
Yeah.
What? You got something else?
Oh, no, I was just going to go in a little bit more. I did trade in a lot of my unneeded stuff for a few Tarmogoyfs, so I'm looking to go a little bit more into the more expensive stuff as far as that goes, too. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Hey, didn't you mention you have 3 of them now?
I'm up to 3. So right now, I'm playing the lottery, buying random Modern Masters booster packs, trying to pull that last one. Yeah, I doubt it's going to work, but
maybe you'll get a foil.
Maybe.
Anyway. All right, Peter, what have you been up to?
Mostly just, like I said, just playing EDH in Modern. The thing I've been really working on right now is something I talked actually to Damon about a year ago. I'm trying to pull together Brago King Eternal EDH deck where it's blue-white and just flickering all the time, and trying to really take advantage of enter the battlefield effects. So right now I just have a giant. The way I do an EDH deck is I figure out the commander, and then I just go through the different colors of the cards involved and just try to pick things out. So right now I've got like a giant stack of cards that I just have to winnow down to get to 100. So, but wasn't able to play with my buddy this past week, but hopefully next week, and just get some modern on and some standard. I built a standard surprise hand disruption deck with Thoughtseizes and a few other things, and just trying to see how that works. It runs on Waste Not. So when they discard stuff, then you get other things. Depending, you can draw a card or get a zombie token, that kind of thing. So
Right.
All right. Very nice. I have been. Oh, I'm zoning a little bit. I can hear a little bit of something or other, feedback or something. Okay, I have been. I've been playing a little bit of Hex recently. Actually, quite a bit of Hex. While not Magic exactly, it actually is good for being able to learn the basics, and there's a lot going on there. I've also been doing some Duels of the Planeswalkers, and looking forward to the new 2015, or I should say, the Origins. That I think there's a new one that's going to be coming out here in July. That's going to be the new Duels of the Planeswalkers. Basically, I forget what it's called, but it's supposed to have it's supposed to be two-headed monster.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Two-headed giant.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right.
The two-headed monster is something entirely different.
Oh, a giant is a type of monster. So, okay. Two-headed giant. It's supposed to have two-headed giant. It's supposed to be pretty interesting. So we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, I've been getting back into it. Hopefully I can, over the next week, start to do a little bit more. Maybe hit F&M one of these days again. So, all right. Anything else, guys, in our combat phase? Let's go. Let's move along.
Second main phase.
We have a couple. I just want to mention, we read all 5-star reviews on iTunes on the cast, and since it's been 6 months and we haven't been around, we still have 2 new reviews. One is from NPC Dave. 5-star reviews. These guys really are quite a good listen. They have a wonderful chemistry, and their opinions differ enough to give some real insight and perspective on their topics of conversation. Well worth your time. Start at the beginning so that you can understand that they are even more amazing than they think they are in later episodes. Episode 7 is super useful one, as they break more down the steps of combat and priority. Super helpful overall. So, 1313.
Nice.
Other one is from Hopium. 5 stars. I received a life pad from the nice gentleman of Checkmate in Toledo last summer with a common bond as a backing. Having already listened to the podcast regularly at work, I never thought to check out an MTG one. Since then, I've listened to everyone, and I'm grateful for whoever gave me that life pad. As a fellow Black Swampite, it was cool to hear someone local on your show with Skype. I don't watch the live stream because then I'll have nothing to listen to at work the next day. But maybe I'll get a Friday off sometime and check it out. Keep up the good work. But if I hear daggers one more time, the Kytheon gets it. Also, send more life pads. Okay, anyway, life pads, that's a topic for another day. We probably will do some life pads, and I'd love to send some out to you. We'll have to see how that turns out. We're going to have to do some thinking, talking about whether or not we can send them out for free or if we need to ask for a small donation or something or other to help make that happen. But they are very fun and useful. I enjoy sending those out to people, so we'll see what happens. No email feedback, but please feel free to send some. We're going to have probably a Zoom contest coming up soon. We had one last year, and they're kind of fun. We're going to continue with the polls of the week. We're going to be coming up with a new one here. And that's about all for our second main phase, unless you guys can think of anything.
Nope.
Okay, let's move into our end step.
End step.
If you like the show, you can leave a 5-star review on iTunes. If you don't like the show, feel free to contact us directly. You can email us at mtgyoupodcast@gmail.com. We have other content on the website beside the podcast, so check out the website at mtgyu.com. Subscribe and like us on YouTube. Find us on youtube.com/mtgyu. Oh, the MTGYou. Follow us on Twitter at the MTGYou. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/MTGYou. And you can also find us on Stitcher. So for the MTGYou podcast,
I'm Blades.
I'm Peter.
And I'm James. Now we pass the turn to you.
Also, I just did the finger thing and you guys can't even see me.
You don't want Frozen Child.
I made this camera look good.
Hey, that sounds good.
Get off my case, toilet paper face.
Signed, Epstein's mother.
Nice, James. Still see your moves. And
We can see you breathing, James. Waka! Waka! I took a mime class in junior high.
Shazam!
When Cameron was in Egypt land, let my Cameron go, go, go.